We'll bring him up here and we'll talk to him. How are you doing, Troy? Nice to see you.
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. First interview for you not in the basement, I believe, with the Canadian flag in the background. You were at the facility, I believe they call it. First and foremost, congratulations. Since you were the first team in North America to play on Cafe, I just want to know your thoughts on the map right now. Where does it place? Defender-sided, attacker-sided? What sites do you prefer?
It's definitely defender-sided. As far as the sites, I think you can really just play anything. I think it's down to how your team likes to play. I think more like in-your-face aggressive teams like definitely prefer Bakery. I think like teams that like to hold the long angles prefer top floor, and then just like the second floor sites for teams that like to rotate around a lot, I'd say. So I think it just depends on play style and preference, but it's definitely a defender-sided map.
Perfect. Do you think it's something that's going to change over time, or do you think it'll be a map that just holds that defender status for a while?
I think every map, when it comes out, tends to be more defender-sided. It's just kind of the nature of it. I think it's harder to figure out how you want to attack things. It's more straightforward to just set up a defensive setup. When you're going into attack, it's more reactive because some attacks won't work against some setups, so you kind of just have to figure out how the other team's defending first and what kind of the meta is, and then you can respond with attacks. I definitely think it kind of pans out that way. I think history has shown that maps start out more defender-sided. Even Coastline, I think, was initially more defender-sided than it is now. So yeah.
Now you brought up a really good point about being prepared for whatever your opponents have. Were you anticipating playing Cafe today?
It was one of the maps we were expecting. We didn't know which map for sure, but we knew Cafe would probably be in there. So.
And when you're playing a map that you haven't played before in Pro League, I'm sure you've scrimmed it many times, and you're going up against a team like Sonics, who maybe you've scrimmed them a lot, I'm not entirely certain. Do you prep more for the map? Do you prep more for the matchup? Do you prep more for the team?
I think Cafe, generally speaking right now, like you just kind of have to prep your own game plan on it, and then obviously stay flexible in game. Because like no one's going to have the perfect strats on this map yet. That's how you learn maps. You play against other teams, see what works, see what doesn't, and it takes time to kind of develop. Obviously, it's a rework, so teams kind of have a better grasp on it initially, but I think that's just how things pan out usually.
Perfect. And one question I wanted to ask you, coming off of the Milan finals, if I can bring them up for just a second, what was your team's biggest focus after the finals ended to get to the point now to start off Season 10? Because now most of you, from my understanding, are moved in together in Seattle. What was the primary focus for you heading into the next season of Pro League?
I mean, we just didn't treat it too differently. Just kind of, you just got to forget about the past and move on, prepare for the next match, next season, next tournament, whatever. So yeah, just one match at a time. Knew that we had to learn some new maps, kind of get used to new operators, stuff like that. So just kind of back to work, one map at a time, figure things out.
Perfect. Well, you figured it out today. You picked up your first victory of the season. Congratulations. Anything to say to the fans, etc., as we end the interview?
Nothing in particular. Just thanks for the support as usual. And just happy to be competing again. See you again next week.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks. There we go. Doodle, you got interviewed twice yesterday in USN, and now you get to get interviewed again, this time with Pro League. So you've been running the gamut here. Congratulations, first and foremost, on your victory. My very first question for you. When the map bans came out, when they banned Buck and you banned Capital, was this a targeted ban against them? Were you expecting them to take Buck away? And how did it influence your play style on Border?
So we knew they loved Cap on Border, so it was easy. And Cap is a broken operator right now, so we wiped it off the board so we can play into a more aggressive play style on half wall. And the Buck ban, someone has done that to us before in one of our CL playoff matches, I think. So it was nothing new. We knew exactly. And with a Buck ban, that means they're not going to play like vertical pressure as much. Like when we go Armory, they're not going to play anything like they're not going to buck above. So I had free roam downstairs. And that just opened up a lot of opportunities for us. But, the bans and they banned Mira for us, which all of our games we banned Mira, so I don't know why they would. Maybe they thought we had something with it. We do, but, that's it.
Now, I made a fool of myself by saying that I didn't know who your coach was, and it's Virus. So, number one, I would like to officially issue an apology. But I also want to ask you, how much work has he done on this team, and his previous experience with Cloud9, how integral has it been for you to be able to match your peers here in North American Pro League?
So Virus, already coaching a Pro League team, he already knew what we need to, essentially what we're going to need to do. You know, we have basically 4 rookies on the team with the exception of Thomas, or 5 rookies with the exception, well, Thomas played a few games, so I don't know if you count that. So he helps us a lot with prep work. We didn't really know how our practice schedule should be as a Pro League team, and you know, a lot of us have jobs and we can't be on as much as some of these other teams, so he helps us stay on the grind as much as possible, and he does a lot of prep work for us, which I appreciate because we make $0 an hour right now, and he just does it out of the love for the game and the passion he has for the team. So much love to him.
Now, moving from Challenger League to Pro League is likely a pretty big step forward for you, and I mean, it was a huge accomplishment for your team to be able to get to this point so far. It's been the biggest, I guess, part of the learning process for you since moving from Challenger League to competing against some of the best teams in all of the world.
I'd say the learning, it's more just learning how we can improve as a team, because, you know, it's when we have 5 players and we made it all the way through CL, it's, some people would think you're like capped off or whatever, but there's still a ton of ways you can improve every day. And, you know, we improve every day in scrims. We try to, and it's just, that's the hardest thing for us is, you know, always improving. And we're doing a good job at it, because in CL, we were not good at best of ones. And I guess we're getting better at best of ones with the past 2 we played. I mean, it's too hard to tell right now, too early in the season. But I'd say improving every day is a tough challenge for us coming from CL.
Perfect. And the last question for you. You added him to the roster. He also was unproven from a Pro League perspective, and Pixel's impact so far has seemed to be quite good. What do you think is the biggest attribute that he brings to your team in particular?
So I think Pixel is one of the best aimers in Pro League right now. I was on a team with him when he qualified for USN, and I took his spot because he could not make the event. But I think he brings a lot to the table with gun skill in general, and it clears up our comms a little bit because he's more of a quiet player, and we have 3 very loud players on the team. So, and we had 4 with Yardy on the team, and it clears up comms, and I'm very confident in Pixel and his like gunfight abilities basically. So I'd say his best attribute is just a gun.
Well, you had a banger of a night last night. You're 1 win away from making it to the U.S. Nationals LAN, if I remember correctly. And now you also happen to sit atop the standings in North American Pro League. So not a bad 24 hours for you. Anything to say to the fans, the viewers, etc. before we end the interview?
I just want to say I appreciate everybody supporting 92 Dream Team and our look for an org. You know, seeing everybody adding all the orgs on Twitter has really helped get our name out there, especially us playing good. And, you know, it just feels good to have a fan base behind us and people who actually want to see us win and do good. So I appreciate all the fans out there and everybody who's stuck with us.
What a story it's been for you, and I'm sure we'll see you again more this season. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.